Howdy friends, time for more market prep. I found out yesterday that I have a market coming up in 2 weeks. That'll be my first one of 2025. I have a couple lined up the first week of May, so I've got one like on a Sunday and then another one on the following Saturday. And then I'm on the waiting list for a couple more right around there, so maybe I'll get into those also. So far 2025 has been a little rough. Sometimes when things are slow I can just sit here and have a pity party, try to figure out what's going wrong or how to keep doing what seems to not be working. But then every now and then, like recently, I will just get off of my ass and start doing something different, or at least improving on what I've done before. Part of that right now, specifically right this moment, I'm going to time myself and try to just start making stuff faster. This is a new addition to my setup space. I ordered all these 12 tapes from Whack for my aprons. This doesn't fit on the little pole I made, but this is elastic and I don't really want to take it off of there. It's not worth it to me to put it on something else that will fit on this pole. This is a dowel rod and I fit it in my shelf with some leftover hardware that I had already, and it is working pretty well. And I use this twine a lot. This is what I package almost all my products with. And I found out a couple years ago that I can use a fabric bolt to cut it to size. Instead of rolling it out, cutting it, rolling it out, cutting it, I can just wrap it around this and cut it all at once. Although I usually have it on the floor, it seems to work better that way, so maybe I'm not standing far enough away from it. The one thing that is difficult for me and for a lot of people is how to price sewing things, either if you do alterations or if you just make stuff. Even though I am a one-person micro business, if you want to get technical about it, it's small business, but also a subcategory of that would be micro business, where I am just one person, I don't have any employees. But I can still learn things from mass production, even though I have a moral objection to it sometimes. Mass production doesn't have to be unethical, but it can be. But for people that work in factories, like clothing factories, or where they make things that are sewn, they don't do it per hour. They do it per piece. So they're paid per piece or per seam. Because if they were paid per hour, what's the incentive to be faster, you know? Unless they have some kind of a quota, which works out to be, you know, you get paid more as you get experience and get faster. Whereas at the beginning, if you're a little bit slower, they're not paying a bunch of money for somebody that's really slow and not getting anything done. Or if you mess up and have to seam rip, so that also reduces mistakes. But why I'm talking about this is when I set my prices quite a while ago, I just did it based on the time it took me then, and I am quite a bit faster now because since then I've gotten a sewing machine, this guy right here, that is approximately 10 times faster than my old one. But also, most of the time is actually not spent at the sewing machine. It is spent cutting and finishing and packaging the stuff. The sewing machine is maybe a fourth of the time, give or take. But mostly I've been trying to figure out where the bottleneck is, like what is taking the longest. I didn't count how many times I'm going around this. I'm just going to make a bunch and I'll use it eventually. So over the past couple weeks, I've been timing myself and figuring out how long it takes me per piece. And there are several things that spurred this line of thinking. Now, number one, I don't have time to do stuff like this, to like figure out the time trials, even though I am trying to make things as fast as I can. It takes time on the back end to do something with that information. Cut all of these, so now I'm going to package those. But since Joann has gone out of business, or is going out of business as I'm filming this, I have paid about twice as much as I normally do for the materials for my best-selling products like non-paper towels, because I'm probably never going to get them at $3 a yard again, just because of how the sales are going. So I want to see if I still can, like, quote-unquote cut corners somewhere. Not that I want to make less money, obviously, but I don't want to raise prices because the prices I have now are pretty good. And at markets, I have a deal where you can do 2 packs of them for $40 instead of $22 each. So that often pushes people to buy because they like that even $40 amount. They can just hand me 2 $20 bills. And with my aprons, this past batch that I made, it took quite a while. I was trying to figure out why it was taking so long to make them. So I'm going to film the process of that next time I make a batch of aprons and take some of my ideas to make it go faster and see if those work. For right now, I will go ahead and package these non-paper towels and see how long it takes me. I usually flip them one by one, but I think it'll be faster if I flip them all, but then I'm going to forget that I flipped them all and keep trying to flip them again. It's taking me a minute already to do 2 of these. Like, why? At this stage, I don't want to just throw them because they kind of need to look presentable. Probably should have counted the time it took me to cut those strings. And I already did the math on how long it takes me to cut these little paper tags. I don't think any other part of the process, whether cutting or sewing each individual one, takes more than 30 seconds. So I think this might be the bottleneck of what takes so long. But it could end up a little bit less than 30 seconds in the end because I get faster as I go along, and probably be faster if I stop talking. But in my mind, I think I'm really fast, and when I watch a video of myself doing something like this, I'm like, oh my god, I'm like a turtle. And I get stuck in my ways too. I think the best way to package and display these is on a roll. And I display them on a roll at markets, but then the ones that you buy are like this, folded up. And they're folded up because they fit very well in the mailers that I use from Eco and Clothes. If I roll them up, they won't fit at all because they'll be too long. But at this point, I have hundreds of these packaged up already in my market stock and my inventory online. So like, it will take even longer to undo all of those, and they'll have a crease because some have been folded up for a long time. And then my market shelves will have to change, which is a pain because they are made to fit these packs. And I don't have any way to keep them upright if they're on rolls because they need something to hold them, whereas these just kind of sit there in a stack. It also really confuses people because I tie the rolls on the display, because the first time I displayed them like that, for more than just one roll of them, I would display one roll at first, and it wasn't quite enough to tell people that they were non-paper towels. So I displayed a bunch of them, and the first day that I did that, they blew away. I almost lost some in the wind. So I started tying them up, but then people were like, well, do I have to tie these up in my house? I have to tie them, untie them? I'm like, no, it's just because they're outside. So if I clip them, people are still going to ask about the clips, so like, I don't know. Can't win everything. Let's see if I can get this all in under 15 minutes. We're at almost 9. Now the camera also might stop recording exactly at the same time I finish these, so hopefully it does not. Oh, just kidding. It goes to 29:59, not 29:00. Duh. Oh. Boom. Holy moly. 14 minutes, 59 seconds. Heck yeah. I got it. So it did go faster there at the end because I was focusing, but it's 10 a.m. But we're in here today because the room that I usually do this in is semi-contaminated. So normally I have gel nails, and I do them myself at home, and I have this little corner of one of our bedrooms that has a desk and lights, and where I keep my makeup and my nail stuff, and I do that all on the same desk. It's a glass desk, so I've cleaned that, but I developed an allergy to an ingredient of gel and or acrylic nail polish or nail stuff. So I have to be careful not to touch anything that could, you know, recontaminate me in that way. And I think the issue is the chair in there. That's what I'm concerned about, because the chair that I was using is like a desk chair that I recovered with regular fabric, so it's not gonna be easy to wipe off. I'm gonna have to recover it and probably get my husband to take it off, like take off the old cover, like just remove the staples and get rid of it. And fun fact, well, like, why don't you just use gloves? Listen, this stuff is dastardly. It will go through nitrile gloves. Latex gloves don't do shit. Okay, so yeah, you need like either specialized, like silver coated gloves for industrial purposes. Like if you have to do it for work, you have to use these special gloves that are very, very expensive. 2 layers of nitrile gloves sort of works, but it's not foolproof. So I kind of just haven't put makeup on, which I don't feel like I need it, but it's the ritual of getting ready really helps me. Like, I wear the same stuff that I would wear if I wasn't like working just on a day-to-day basis. I don't have really a uniform necessarily. I don't wear like pajama pants around on the daily. I wear, you know, just jeans or stuff like that. Just casual, and depending on the weather too, because we practice, what's that called, passive heating and passive cooling in our house to save electricity. Like yesterday it was getting pretty warm in here because it needed to rain really badly. Like, you know, when it's just so humid outside, it's really hot for no reason, but it's cloudy and it was not raining, but finally it rained last night, so it really cooled down and I could actually sleep. Because just this time last week it was 59 degrees, 58 degrees in our house because we had turned the heat off, which was fine because you could put more clothes on or use a space heater, but going from 58 degrees to it was like 76, 77 in here. Yeah, it was pretty warm. So now I have my hoodie on, and then later on I could maybe want to change into shorts, but probably not. As I was saying at the beginning of this little vlog, I just lost the plot a little bit, and I feel like I need to get back to basics of how I used to do things. So now I kind of just do stuff the day to day and then take for granted the stuff that I should be doing every day. Like recently I've been, you know, trying to like optimize production and whatnot, but that's great, but it's not great if I don't have that many sales to need to optimize for. And I also just found out that I have another market, so, but I kind of forgot how I used to do things. My mantra for this year, because I don't like to do resolutions because they never work, or like resolutions can be not specific enough or like too vague and you feel like you're a failure even though you didn't set yourself up for success. But my mantra for this year is to just make room or make time. So I have to make room in my schedule for marketing and things that you just have to do for a business, whether it's one person or thousands. I have a freckle right here that was not there a few months ago and now it's getting a little bigger. Yeah. I have been in with a dermatologist, so I will be having that looked at, because it's not like, I don't know, I'm just really paranoid, okay, because in 2023 I lost one of my grandmothers to cancer, and just found out like 2 weeks ago that the other one has the same kind of cancer. It's not skin cancer, lung cancer. And one smoked for 40 years and one smoked not a day in her life. So that's my PSA to you, that 25% of people who get lung cancer are never smokers. So if you have like lingering cough, don't be like, oh, I think it's allergies. Oh, I think it's just cold or the flu or whatever. Best to get that checked out, because that's what my grandma thought. She was coughing. She's like, oh, it's allergies, because she's always just had allergies. And yeah, no. Nope, it was not. And if you're doing DIY stuff, you're a crafter, if you're doing anything relating to sanding or painting that's not like acrylic craft paint, that's probably okay, but like anything that has fumes, especially, for the love of God, wear a fucking mask if you do resin or anything like that, because I can't touch resin now because I'm allergic to that gel stuff on my fingers. So if I don't know what would happen. I don't want to find out what would happen if I inhale that. Like, even if you're outside painting, doing something, read labels on stuff and wear a fucking mask. Okay, because I had a reaction just like 3 or 4 days ago, and just now is starting to clear up. There's this stuff called graphite lubricant. It's for bike chains and stuff like that, but we've used it on door locks that are kind of difficult to turn, and we just got a new cabinet thing downstairs that has the knob to open the cabinet door is a lock. So it was hard to turn. We used that lubricant stuff, and my husband's like, oh, this is not really spraying out much. So I was like, oh, here, let me try it. Yeah, apparently it had acrylate in it. Didn't notice until like the next day. Where I was spraying the spray can, my index finger and down the inside of my other fingers on my right hand and also my thumb, bad. And then also on that same cabinet, it had residue of tape, like Scotch tape, and we had this stuff called Goof Off that we're taking it off with, and my husband's like, oh, I tried to use that stuff on this cassette case, like the plastic, and it ate the plastic, and I was like, oh shoot, why would it do that? So I looked at the package, and it said that it contains acetone. Like, well, of course acetone eats through plastic, but like, you just wouldn't think to read everything, you know. If it says it's harmful and used in a ventilated area, they are saying that for a reason. But for VOCs, the volatile organic compounds that are in stuff like that, the little dust masks, like hospital paper masks, are not going to do anything. You need a respirator. I've been holding off on doing some projects I want to do because I can't seem to figure out which respirator that I need because my face is kind of an odd shape. Like I almost need a child size one. Because most N95, like full N95, not the KN95, but the full ones don't fit me properly. And I have glasses, so I don't know about a respirator. But back on track, while I'm talking about getting ready and stuff, like the routine of that, occasionally I will watch other creators that do small business vlogs and show what they're doing on the day-to-day. But it seems like I'm overcomplicating things sometimes when I watch other people just go about their day-to-day. For example, I used to do this and I don't know why I stopped doing things like this, but I have a love-hate relationship with TikTok and Instagram, and I used to just like batch film a bunch of videos and have them to post because that's the most efficient way to do it, and I just stopped doing that, and now it's like a big ordeal to just make one. So if I'm going through all this effort to make one, why don't I just make a few? I'll save myself some time. I guess because I wanted to not have to rely on social media to get sales, so I just stopped using them. Like that's not how that process works. I can't just skip it. Like I'm in the next county over from Washington DC, and the cherry blossoms have bloomed there but not here quite yet, but I think that they're going to be there pretty soon, and I'm pretty sure that I am allergic to them, and there's no way to enter or exit my home without crossing paths with one. It's covering the exit. Like I have to walk through a sea of petals every time because it's on our sidewalk. That did not take as long as I thought, so now let's get to work. Oh, shoot, I need more pages. I switched to this disc bound planner thing last year, I think. It works a little better for me with being able to move things around, and I can put pages wherever I want to, but the paper doesn't last because the little things just tear off where you take them in and out. Draw a little car in my planner to know that I drove somewhere, that way I can go back and put my mileage in. So what I do in March, I was supposed to prep for mail-in aprons. So on my radar is having people send me their shirts or linens that I would make into aprons. Cuts out the hours that I spend thrifting to try to find these materials. I can put in place a solution to catch those items before they get put into the thrift store. But I have a lot of stuff coming up in April and May, so I might have to push that off until June. Because in April we are going to Kentucky to visit family. I have at least one craft show right before that, and then immediately after that I have another one that I've applied for that I'm on the wait list, and then that next weekend I have one. And then the following Saturday, that's like, so if I get accepted to that one wait list, that's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 weekends in a row that I'm doing something. For all those craft shows, I have to prep and pack and plan ahead, so, and restock and all that, and yeah, that's, I don't want to have a really, really long processing time for those aprons, even though I'm probably going to have to, because they are going to be made to order, made to like bespoke basically. So my goal for that was to get that launched by April 7th, but that's not happening. I also need space in my office, and I don't quite have that yet. And also on my list was to do 2 videos for this channel. I have done 0, so this one's going to be posted in April, so it's not going to count. And then I was supposed to do 3 videos for my business, or I was supposed to do 4, and I ended up doing 3, so I'll count that as nah. And I wanted to make 10 aprons and 10 upcycled bags. I did 6 aprons, no bags, and I wanted to do 6 hours of website updates. I did approximately 1 hour. I think I did like 2 or 3, so I'm gonna put 3 because I think I did. And then my snack bags, so those are ready to launch this week. Hopefully, I'm waiting on more lining and zippers from Wowak to come in. The lining is from Wazoodle. They both usually ship within 2 days. I ordered them yesterday or the day before, so they should be here like tomorrow, maybe. But if that all comes in, I just need the zippers especially because I have a bunch of zippers. This stuff right here, if I'm zoomed out all the way, those are all zippers, but they're not the right kind and size, and I don't want to waste them because you can make a zipper any size you want. Really, you can cut it down, but I don't want to do that. It's going to waste some and I can't use a little extra. So my quotas for the month, which I said I was going to make 300 items and then have my market inventory up to 12K. So let's see where I am. So in March, if I count the aprons that I made, that'll be 58 items total that I made this month. And then market inventory is probably not 84.22. What was it last month? So I added about 500 to the market inventory, which is not terrible, but also not great either because I need a lot more than that. Although, what if I add the aprons? Okay, so with the aprons, it's about 9,000. Still a bit shy of the 12K, but I'll take it. Okay, so what am I doing this month? I do have a list, a content calendar. I actually haven't emailed right today. Okay, well. So let me figure out, because of all this stuff going on, let me figure out how many work days that I'm going to have. 20 work days. So my average hours total, it's about 120 hours a month. So I work 8 hours a day, approximately. That's more than 120, but I think it's feasible, especially if I'm going to stay on track, knock on wood, with being up early. So I have my content for the month actually planned out. I just need to write the things so that I can figure out exactly what I'm doing. I just have the rough concepts and what day I'm going to post them on. I need to do my banner for the markets because I started that last year and didn't finish it. And I've looked at pictures of my booth and I'm like, oh my gosh, this booth looks naked because I don't have a big banner. I have a small one. So I need to put one behind me. And I need a display for the snack bags. I have a table that I can put them on because last year I had half of the table was my cotton rounds and half of the table was Christmas non-paper towels, but I'm not going to have those now because it's springtime. Another big thing I need to do because I got in trouble, or I think I got in trouble last year for this, was taking so long to tear down. I need to make a routine, like sit down and think about like step by step how I set up and tear down the booth because I'm always just like bouncing around everywhere and that's not going to work. It took me forever one time and I was like the last one by far and I had to go get my car and pull it around and there was so much traffic. It was a nightmare and I did not get accepted to that one again. I am hoping that it's not because of that. I promise I am going to fix that. And I also am looking for a better cart or wagon situation because one I had was just not great because I had to go over cobblestones to get there and it just, the tires were small on it. So like if it was just on concrete, it would be fine, or asphalt, but the cobblestones really messed me up with that. Because I see people packing up their cars and stuff for markets and they're not stuffed to the brim. I'm like, how do you do that? Granted, my car is on the very, very small end. I just left the seat out. I took the front seat out. I'm just leaving it out. It's fine. I'd probably need to take the actual seat inside my house. Those doesn't mold outside. But I don't care at this point because nobody ever rides in it. Shoot, I need to maybe wait to go to the post office until my husband gets home, if he gets home before 5. Because my car battery is messed up and I had to jump it once. I'm afraid if I go to the post office, because it's such a short distance, if the battery's not staying charged and I go to the post office, turn the car off, it's not going to start back up when I come out. Maybe you could risk leaving it running because I'm just going to run in, drop the package in the thing and come back out, but never know. I would say that might be doing me a favor if they stole it, but also my craft fair stuff is in there. I say I'm going to get rid of that car, but I've had it, it's a 2011 model. I've had it since it was new. I'm driving it until the wheels fall off, okay? And they have. But I really have to get that fixed before I go to this first craft show. Actually, I need to get that fixed like Wednesday or Thursday. Today's Tuesday because I have to go quite a distance to the doctor's office to get my pap smear. And I have to park in a crowded parking garage for that. And if I have to jump it at that point, no bueno. I'm gonna have to wait for the person next to me or have my husband come. He's not that far from it, but there's no room in a parking garage for that situation. I don't want to be that person. So, yeah. The thing is my battery is under warranty though, so I'm going to take it back to Walmart and be like, hey, can you test this? And if not, give me a new one because it is still well under the warranty. I think it went bad because it got so freaking cold here and I don't drive it much. I go maybe like 10 miles a week because the post office is so close and that's really the only place I go unless I have a craft show, in which case it's longer. But yeah, so like not running it and it being really cold for a little while definitely killed it. So I was afraid that it was my alternator or something which is more difficult and not under warranty. And also this Saturday, there's apparently a local quilting guild, and I've seen advertised on Facebook they're having a fabric sale this Saturday, and it's like $8 a pound, which they said is about $2 a yard. So I might hit that up because I just went to Joann to get some more fabric for my snack bags. I posted on Instagram that I had like 3 prints that I could use, but that's really all I have on hand, and I spent a lot of money on flannel. So I went to Joann's that actually had some stuff in stock, and I got their cheaper version of material, the I forgot what they were called, not the keepsake calicos, but the other one. Quilter's Showcase, that's it. So they had these on sale for $4.99 or $4.79 a yard for the going out of business thing. I like a lot of their novelty ones, but those are more expensive. Oh, there's a strawberry one on their website. I wish they had that because people do like the strawberries. Oh, and that gingham too, I didn't see that at all. And also I need to do my Q1 sales tax, even though I didn't have any in-person, in-person markets or anything. I still have to tell them that I made $0 in Maryland. Because I made that mistake when I first started my business and doing sales tax stuff in Kentucky. I thought I just didn't have to file if I made $0. That is not true. You have to file even if you have $0. And I got a penalty for that. I had to pay like total around $100 because it went on for a while and there was like late fees on top of that. So yeah. A while back order came in for my zippers, and I'd made a test. I probably should have tested before this with a different zipper, but oh well, here we are. And it came out perfectly, like exactly what I was thinking. I only have so much PUL for the lining of the snack bags, and I'm just trying to make at least one of each to have photos of for the website. And I didn't write down how many pieces of PUL I cut, so I'm gonna have to count real quick. There's 8 different prints, and so I'm gonna do at least one of each, so that's 8 of them, and I'll have 12 left of this size. I don't do this size in the fold over quite yet. But yesterday I did finish the first round of the fold over style snack bags, and they came out really well. I'm pretty happy with the result of these. So there's one of each of those, so I need to do one of each of the zipper style. This one's a weird size that I tested out. I do everything by zero waste, where I cut the fabric into equal parts. So if, say, sometimes I get fabric that's different widths, so like one of these prints could be 44 inches wide and one of them could be 43 or even 42. So I just cut them like in half or like in thirds or quarters, and it makes each one just slightly a different size. These mostly have worked out to be all about the same because I'm concerned about the PUL and not wasting that, because I can use scraps of this printed cotton no problem, like even small pieces, but this PUL, it's useless if it's in a small piece because it has to be waterproof, and if you put seams in it, that kind of messes that up. I could do like 2 of each of these if I wanted to. For the small ones only though, I only have 1 piece of each left for the big ones with the zippers. The more PULs coming on Friday, and today's Wednesday, and I'm going to launch these on Friday. So they're going to be made to order after that until I can get more made up. But this PUL is so expensive. It's one of the more expensive fabrics that I get. Unless I order something from Spoonflower, which costs more than that. I also need to make some up for my markets, and I'm going to focus the market stock of these on prints that I only have a little bit of. These ones that I'm putting on the website, I have quite a bit of. That was kind of the point of doing that, so I don't have to deal with changing around the listing photos and the print choices all the time. I'm just trying to use only ones that I have a lot of. I had this one already, and then I accidentally bought 2 more with bees on them. But anything that I have with bees pretty much sells. And these bones, and there's one on the bottom of the stack that I thought would be good for like a boyish kind, because people mostly use these for their kids, and a boy's probably not going to want bees or butterflies. I mean, all boys, I should say. Like, some do like bugs, but like this print, I don't know, it might be too girly, so it doesn't matter. Like, it shouldn't matter at the end of the day, but a kid is going to want what they want, and they're more likely to use something that they like. You know, if a kid's gonna be afraid that he's gonna be bullied or whatever for using a girly thing for his lunchbox, then, you know, then he's not gonna want to use it. I don't have kids, but I've been there myself. Not like boyish versus girlish things, but not wanting to wear or use something because it's like you don't like how it looks or nobody else likes how it looks. Case in point, I got bullied for wearing a winter jacket in like middle school. Which is the dumbest thing ever. Should I put the sliders on these now? Yeah, they're not gonna know which way it opens because I can't my brain does not work like that. Can't get these dang sliders on here. It's going to be a problem. I haven't had this problem before with zipper tape. Granted, the sizes that I've used before are quite big. This one is a number 3, which is one of the smallest. I think the smallest you can get is like a number 2. I've never seen it anywhere. Oh, did I get it? Okay, I think I got it now. I know there's little jigs you can buy for this, but like, I don't think that's necessary. And there's some hack you can use a fork, but like you have to hold the fork down, and this is so tiny it won't fit in the tines of a fork, I'm certain. Probably worked for like a number 5, which I have behind me, the big metal. I just don't want to use metal for these. It's chunky and it's kind of heavy. Eventually this is going to be faster. I just don't want all the waste of a pre-made zipper. I think I'm just going to do the first 8 and then do more because this tape is starting to get bad shape here. Now I cut that off. The end doesn't really matter because it's going to hang over a little bit. Okay. Alright, what I'm going to do is pin this in between here. About a 1/2 inch sticking out, I think, on each side. Because with this one, I cut it off at the edge of the seam allowance, and I had to top stitch that down because if I didn't, the zipper was just, it was so short it would just stick straight out right there. And over time, that's going to wear out the fabric on the outside because it's touching directly on the outside. So you don't want that to happen. So I stitched it down so it's not just sticking straight out, and it should last a little bit longer. But if you cut it a little bit longer, then that should help also. I hate these clips. Everybody's like, oh yeah, use clips. These clips are great. They're great. I have to use them for this because this PUL, you don't want to put holes in it with pins. I really hate it. Do I need to put the zippers? How am I going to go around? I'm trying to think of how to do this effectively, efficiently. Having the sliders like on is great, but if you're sewing over them, I don't want to waste too much of this. If the zipper is so close to the corner of this fabric, and when you put the presser foot down on the sewing machine, it's going to push the zipper tape out of the way, and it's going to not be straight. If you use these clips, good for you. I just, like, it physically is difficult for me to use them. I don't want to say it's carpal tunnel, but I get to where I can't make a pinching motion with my hand, especially after sewing for a while. So it's not easier for me to use those than it is to use pins. So I don't have to pinch the pins so hard. And sometimes these clips can move on you if you're sewing something really long and it's hanging over the edge of the table and one of them gets caught on the edge as the machine is pulling it up. That can make problems with the seam that you're sewing and also move the clip out of the way. These pieces are much longer because I just cut them to the size of the fabric, so I'm going to cut off the excess and then that way I'll have that piece. It's just one less cut I have to do in the beginning. Eventually could I get to the point where I do this all at once over at the sewing table? Maybe. Space between them doesn't really matter. It will matter in the end. You know, if I end up making hundreds and hundreds of these, that little bit of wastage could add up if they're not the same. Or if it's, you know, sometimes I do an inch, sometimes I do 1/2 inch. That's going to add up over time. Because I can get this, I bought a 25-yard roll just to start, but I can get like 800 and something yard roll that's going to be quite a bit cheaper per piece. I really don't know how people get good footage of their sewing machine because you kind of need to be like right in front of it. So are they like putting the camera in front of their chest and like going around it? I don't know. It would probably be wise to use a zipper foot for this, but I have this quick change piece on my, what do you call this? The thing that holds the foot on, and it doesn't work with my zipper foot. And it's a pain to take this quick change thing on and off, ironically. So we're just working with what we got. That's what I used for the sample one I made earlier, so it was fine. It's a lot easier once I don't have the zipper pull in the way. think that went fairly well, but I won't know until the end. So now I'm going to take them, this part I'm going to do here because they're already kind of lined up, and put them, oh dagnabbit, never mind, I can't do that, I got to cut the excess off. Good thing I thought about that just now. I knew that was too good to be true. I can just zip along here. I cut them about 1/4 inch longer because the PUL, even though the kind I bought says it's no stretch, it stretches a little bit. And it moves because it's got slippery stuff on one side. Alright, doing this as I go. This could be a disaster or it could turn out great. Let's see. And I just realized my stitch length was too long the whole time. That's great. Doesn't really matter though. Once I figure out which way stuff goes, I'm pretty good. And before y'all say, oh, basting tape, use double-sided wash away tape. No, these are going to be used with food. I'm not I'm not putting that near these. I mean, you can if you want, but I'm not doing that. And I am personally allergic to certain types of adhesive, so yeah, nope. So this one's crooked, so I'm going to stop before I get too far and fix that. I need to cut them apart at this. Yes, I need to cut them apart at this stage because I'm going to top stitch. So I need scissors. Sometimes I can think that I don't need to watch tutorials or I can figure stuff out on my own, but I'm like, if somebody else has already done this, and this is not a unique process, it's not like proprietary, this is just a way to make a bag. It's not necessarily unique to these snack bags, but like somebody else has already done the work to figure out how to do this, then why not use that? And then expand on it because like they didn't use continuous zipper. And they also didn't top stitch at this stage, which I'm going to do because I did it on the last one and it looks a bit more polished and professional. And this is nylon zipper, don't freak out, I'm using my fabric scissors to cut it. Although these are not my new ones, I have a pair of fancy gingers that are like solid metal. I might have to totally oh my god, so I just put the sliders on for no reason. Because I forgot about top stitching. And I can't really get, especially on these, maybe the bigger ones I can get in there like this, but nah, dang it. Well, I guess I'll try it and see how it goes. If it comes off, comes off. So I did it with the other one where I used a finished zipper and I just, it was so long I just opened it all the way, so fuck. If you have a, a machine with an arm extension thing and it's not flat with the table like mine, this will be no problem. That's the only thing that I have issues with this machine. I just don't want to accidentally sew something I'm not supposed to. Actually, it might work like this. Let's just try it and see. Don't know unless you try. Ooh. Now let's do this. Oh my god. This is jank. This is not efficient at all. So maybe I should not have put the sliders on yet. Noted for next time. It actually didn't, wasn't terrible. So maybe I can just do that. Just a few more. Oh my gosh. Tell you what, I could not get a job at one of those factories that they show on TikTok. It's like, they would have had 100 of these done by now. Oh no. One camera part, oh well. Let's see how it goes. I mean, if it's going to be easier for me to do it like that, then I'm just going to take them apart. I shouldn't have put the zips on. I got to learn somehow, I guess. Just got to remember to put the zippers back on before I sew them closed. That's the important part. Okay, yeah, this is a little, I'm going to say faster, but easier. Probably will be faster. Yeah, even though I cut these like a 1/4 inch shorter on the PUL, it's actually good, so that way, because you don't want the PUL to be like, you know, just riding up there when you're sewing this top stitch down. It's also another good thing about the top stitch is it holds it down like that so it doesn't just creep up over time. Comparing the quality or like the straightness of the stitches, like maybe I thought they would be wonky for the ones that I did with the slider still on, but they're perfectly fine, so that's a plus. So I just did it that way with the zippers first because I've seen people do it both ways where they put them on before they cut the tape, and then, you know, I guess it just depends on what you're making. Now this one, it does matter which way the thing goes because this is right side up, so I want to put this slider on from this side. Yes, I think that... What the heck happened? I think this piece is bigger, so I'll just cut that off later. No big deal. And this one's the same way. I almost didn't use this print because it's so big, but it still kind of shows on this. I'm just weird about, like, it's going to be, because if this is the front, right, and then this is the back, this is the top, but it's upside down. So I don't want somebody to, like, spill their snacks thinking it's right side up, you know. But this one has a zipper, though, that it should be fine because of the zipper, but the other ones are fold over, so that might, yeah. Turning things inside out and right sides together and whatnot is just not my forte. Like 3D stuff, like fitting, I'm an expert if you need like somebody to fit a bunch of things inside of a box, or like moving, you putting everything in a truck. Great at that, but with this, like 2D things and flipping them, I don't know why that skill does not translate, but it does not. I need my seam gauge. Where the heck did that go? My husband keeps taking them because he uses them for his uniform. I went to an antique mall and got this baggie of assorted vintage sewing supplies, and this one was in there. And this is a seam gauge, but it's not made out of tinfoil like the ones that you can buy now. It's like I could bend it, but it's not that easy to. This is a lot stronger, so I'm gonna hide this one. But I think the inch is all the way to the edge, which is actually gonna help me with this situation. Let's check it. Yes, so all the way up the edge is 0. I think, are they all like that? Probably. Alright, I've sewed down one side completely. Now what we're gonna do is I'm upside down with the lining facing up, and then sew down about halfway-ish, making sure that's not off. Just stop out there, back stitch with it, and lift up. Make sure the needle's all the way up. Pick this up. Try not to let the bottom move. Pull that out of the way, and then start back here. And then that opening we're going to turn and close later. So I'll do that again. That brave? No? I don't think that one's big enough. Oh. Alright, we got a pickle now. Let's take a look, see. Well, sometimes things happen. The needle's stuck down. I don't know if it was because of thread or I can't get the bobbin spool out. So what I'm going to have to do is see if the needle will come out. Okay, it's still stuck even though the needle is technically free. Don't like that. I had to bend this needle to get it out of there, I think. That's not what I wanted to do today. I have never in my life. Okay, I need to find that. The needle broke when I tried to bend it and hit my finger and flew somewhere else. It's dangerous. But can I get the bobbin out now? Okay, the bobbin's out. Okay, first problem solved. Now where that piece of needle went, I don't want it on my foot or Walter's foot. And it's still stuck. Okay. Yeah, that would mess somebody up. Okay. The thread just got in a knot and decided not to go through. Okay, no idea what happened, but let's get a new needle and carry on, I suppose. I took this all apart, cleaned it out, there's nothing in the way, so I don't know what happened. One thing about these industrial machines, the needle is not flat on one side like the home machine, so you have to figure out and get it exactly right, which way it goes. There's also a slight possibility there's something wrong with this bobbin thread because when I was winding it, the thread fell on the floor and I just kept letting it go, but then there was dust back there. So I cleaned some of it out, but maybe I didn't get all of it. Maybe that stopped it up. Who knows? I've never had it freeze up like that. Usually it'll sew, but it just will, the thread will be messed up somehow. Or maybe the needle was bent anyways, and I don't know. Don't know. Okay, I hope that doesn't happen again, because I think I've only got one left. Actually, let me sew a test piece first. That's why I have this here, because sometimes I don't want to mess up what I was doing. Okay, so let me loop it on the bottom. I don't want that. I like these better than the other ones, the fold-over style. I don't have so many threads to cut on the outside. And it's taken me almost 3 hours to get to this point. So, yeah, this is why I am not going to try charging by the hour anymore. Well, I'm charging by the, like, what I think it should take me, like the length of time it should take me to make things, but not, like, exact. Because if you charge by the hour like today, I had to take, what, 10 or 15 minutes to fix the machine. You know, that's not really... This part takes the longest, I think, just turning things right side out. I might be able to get these done in like 4 hours total, and 8 in 4 hours, half an hour each. No freaking way, this has to get faster. It will, it's just figuring out the steps to do at first. Then the faster you make it, the more money you make. And you know, we don't have to be as fast as the factory workers that are like super speed, because they do the same, like one specific task all day, every day, so they get good at it. But if you're having your own business and it's only you, you're doing a bunch of different tasks and different days, different times. So it's, you know, it's not that realistic for it to be perfect. I do need to switch to the Teflon foot though, because I'm sewing over this POL part. I have to brace myself because this is such a tight spring. Okay. And since this is difficult to go, I'm actually going to start in the middle. I'm not going to start on the edge because it doesn't want to grab the material, especially because this is a sticky or a slippery foot. Turn these all right side out, and then top stitch the zippers down, and we're done. Alright, almost done flipping them inside out, or right side out. Noticed a problem with my closure method, because the lady in the tutorial I watched was like, oh, just cut the thread when you are going to flip it and skip the lining and just do the outside to leave the hole to turn it inside out. But I was like, I don't need to cut the thread. Well, that caused a problem. Well, it's a minor problem. I mean, it's like a little puckered on the corners, so I think I can, maybe I should have cut, I didn't have to cut it, pull it, the thread and cut it off. Like, I could have just kept going and then went back and clipped that thread a little bit better than I did. Probably would have solved it. I'm just turning the corners with this Afghan hook crochet. It's a crochet hook, but it's like a knitting needle on one end. That I have barely ever used it for its actual purpose. It's just nice to turn things inside out. Sometimes I use my scissors for this, but you don't want to do that with PUL because you can poke holes in it. Alright, so now I'm going to put the regular foot back on here. It's hard. Oh, wait. Yeah, like I said a minute ago, needle up. Now flatten that down. I'm just going to tack from like up here where the edge of the zipper is and then down to the bottom. And make the stitch length a little bit longer because there's a lot of layers. You might have to walk it sometimes because this is thick. Yeah, like I don't want to break on the zipper. Yeah, 3 hours and 40 minutes. That's too long to make 8 bags, so let's make the next ones a bit faster. Alright, we're done with the large ones now. This took me 2 hours to do 8 of these, so literally half the time of these smaller ones. So I've figured out a bit what I'm doing now. I'm just going to put it not quite on the cotton setting and give them a quick little iron. In my haste or overconfidence, I should say, the zippers are on the wrong side on some of them, and then these that are directional are of course upside down, but oh well, I'm sure there's someone that won't care about that. This one is not as obvious, and like that one has that little pucker, but then some of them don't. So I'm thinking it's when I'm top stitching that opening on the inside closed, I'm accidentally hitting the main fabric when I back stitch to secure that, so I think I can avoid that if I pay attention, because this one you can feel that there's something going on here, but you can't see that really bad like puckered part. So getting better and faster, and doing the sliders later versus trying to do them beforehand was a lot better, and it's probably what shaved off most of the time. And also I did not pin them at first. When I put the zipper on at first, I didn't pin it. I just went over to the machine, had the roll of zippers, and put it on. And I think they still turned out okay. None of them are really wonky around the zipper, except for the ones that are upside down, of course. Or does it really matter? I just feel like everything I know with the zipper on it, it's always on the left when you're looking at it. Just pressing the edges down a little bit. I don't want to do this too long because the PUL can melt, and the plasticky side is touching itself, so if it melts it's going to stick together and the bag is useless. It's not actually that hot inside. Like, I feel like if it's hot enough to melt this, it would burn my hand. So yeah, it's not that hot inside. So for these big ones with ironing and cutting them, probably, like this batch probably be about 20 minutes a piece, which is not ideal. I would like that to be less than 10 minutes, like 5 minutes would be great. I just think also the bigger ones are less cumbersome than the small ones. Alright, these are already done, so we're good for today. It's now Friday. I have launched the snack bags, and this last batch, I don't remember if I updated, but I think it took me about 15 minutes each. I would like to get that down to 5 minutes, so I'm going to do another batch soon. I just made one of each to take photos of and all that stuff, and I don't know how well they're going to do. Like, sometimes I'll do a launch video and it goes viral, and sometimes it gets like nothing. So we'll see what happens with that. I just didn't want to make a whole bunch and then they didn't sell. I think they'll probably do better at markets, and I have another one coming up. Is that next weekend? Oh my god. Yeah, so on my calendar it looks like it's next week, but it's no, it's yeah, it's a week from Sunday. I don't even have a thing to display these in, so I need to figure that out. I'm going to store them in these bins that are apparently discontinued at IKEA, but I need to find some wooden ones because I don't use any plastic things in my display because it's kind of against my branding, but I just had a bunch of these. So they're okay. They're actually the perfect size to store these in here. So what I'm doing for the stock of these, because I didn't make them all up front, I just cut all the pieces that I could, and then the large zipper bags and the fold-over ones actually use the same size material. They just look a little smaller because of how that's like half an inch or so smaller because of how I finish the seams. But I use a website called Trunk, and it syncs your inventory, and actually I just learned, so I have been using it to sync inventory on Shopify and Etsy. And it's worked great and it's saved me a lot of time. It is expensive, but it is worth every penny of my sanity because I have had like viral videos and stuff without it and trying to keep track of what's where and don't want to oversell. But apparently it can also sync with Fair and other places, and I actually was accepted to sell on Fair, the wholesale website, but I just never did it because I didn't want to have separate inventory for that because I already have Etsy, Shopify, and my Shopify is split into market and online stuff. So I did not want yet another inventory source, but I can apparently sync it with Trunk. But what I did on Trunk, you can create a separate item. So as long as everything on Trunk has its own unique SKU number, it's going to be a separate thing. So I've created a SKU number with Trunk for those pieces that I've cut of the material. So I make a listing for like this blue bugs print large pieces. So what I do is I put all the large zipper bags and all of the fold over bags with a component of one of those pieces of the fabric. So let's say I have 8 pieces of this blue bugs print. I don't know who's going to order what. I don't want to do it like 4 and 4 and split it up. So Trunk will allocate that. So let's say if somebody buys 4 zipper bags, then somebody else wants 3 fold bags with it, then I have 1 left, and then the next person can order either one, but not both because there won't be enough. And then if I decide to go ahead and finish all of them, then I can just take that off and have it as a normal stock item. And I'm also listing these as sets, so I have each print as its own listing, at least in my Shopify. I think if I do it on Etsy, I want to do them all in the same listing, and you can just pick what print and size. But I have them individually, and then you can get like the large zipper, the small zipper, or the fold over, or a set of all 3. And so with the set of all 3, I went into Trunk and made that SKU have the components of one of each of the different pieces. You can do that within Shopify with the Bundles app, which is free, but it has to be a separate listing. It can't be included in the other ones, and I didn't really want that. I wanted to do a build your own bundle, and I have mostly finished the listing for this, but I don't know how to handle the inventory on the back end. Because there are apps on Shopify that can do this, but you have to pay for them. I have had one before, and I just didn't really need it for anything, and I don't know if it's worth it at this point. If these start selling a lot, maybe I'll do something like that. So if you like want to pick any 5, then I can mix and match 5 different ones for a discount. So how I went around that was I created a coupon on Shopify where if you buy 5, then you get the 6th one free out of any of them. So I didn't limit it to just having to do all of the same size of bag. I did it just 5 of any individual ones. I took all the listing photos. I just don't have any photos of them with food in them. I know it's probably best practice to do that because they're meant for food, because they're snack and sandwich bags. But I don't need them for myself, and the prototypes that I made are not the same size as the final products, so I can't use those. So I'm kind of just hoping that people buy them and then send me pictures that I could use. But I used all the large pieces of PUL that I had cut, and actually my order came, this is heavy, from Wazoodle for the PUL fabrics, so I need to get cutting that. I don't know where I'm going to put these bins yet. They're not going to fit on my regular stock, And I'm trying to make a flow, so this corner is all my uncut material, and then I have the notions and things here, and then sewing machines over here, and then I would cut, like, package it here, and then I have my shipping stuff over there, so it's all like, I don't want to go back and forth for everything. So I'm thinking directly behind the camera, behind the door, I should be able to fit some kind of shelf, but there's a tower of totes back there that I could move somewhere else, but that's my market stock. The only other place I have to put it is in the other bedroom. That's the farthest away from the door, so I would have to carry them up and down the stairs and all the way through the house every market. So I'll figure something out and just fudge it in the meantime, like I always do. But I am really glad that I got these snack bags done. I feel a little more confident in my sewing abilities, I will say, because before it would take me so long to develop a product because I just would make a few prototypes and wasn't happy with my sewing ability. And these, I feel like I really nailed them down fast. And this is the first product I've ever made with zippers. I've made things for myself and other people with zippers in them, but this is the first thing I made to sell with a zipper in it. And it actually came out really good. Like, I am not embarrassed of these. Actually, one product I made a test thing out of, I really sewed way too close to the zipper, and it was almost like the pull thing was eating the fabric because it was too close to the zipper. I'm hoping this was also a good time to launch these because a lot of people are sort of panicking right now because of all the tariff stuff. I'm not really going to get into too much about that, but we're going to see a shift, I think, to reusable stuff just because of everyday essentials are going to get more expensive than they already have been. And a lot of stuff is not produced in the US and it can't really be produced in the US. But actually the lining that I'm using from Wazoodle, that's an American company, and their mills are in Pennsylvania, which is right up the road from here. But the rest of the materials, I don't know. I'm not sure where YKK zippers are made. I should check on that. Because I thought that they were made in the US, but maybe not. Apparently there's a factory of YKK in Macon, Georgia, which I did not know. I'm not sure how to tell where the specific ones were made, but that's interesting, and YKK is actually a massive company. I did not know that. I mean, I thought they were big, but okay, anyways, I'm getting off track. Now, the outer fabric, I did end up purchasing some from Joann. And actually this Sunday, there's a local quilting group that is having a fabric sale for like $2 a yard. So I'm going to hit that up and see. I'm probably going to, should I talk about this in a different video? I don't know. But I'm probably going to move towards secondhand materials more so than I have been. Especially for everything except for flannel, because the flannel stuff, it's so hard. I need so much of it. It's so hard to get enough and in consistent quality buying it secondhand or from like different places. So I'm still not sure about that. I have enough for a little while unless something pops off again. I'm just hoping that I have enough for this year's holiday markets. But I'm not panicking yet because I have not seen any price increases yet. It's just like I just have to go with the flow. We can't sit around and play the what if game. If something happens, it's going to happen, and we just have to roll with it. I kind of thought I was safe because most of my stuff actually does not come from China. The materials like flannel and cotton and stuff, a lot of that is made in Pakistan, but they're on this new list that just came out a few days ago in beginning of April. But I'm not going to preemptively increase my prices just because I think things are going to get more expensive. I don't have any proof. I am reworking my labor charges, so every item I work in a labor cost. And I'm doing that a little bit differently now. I was doing like per hour, but that was based on calculations that I made years ago before I've really developed my skill and understood the importance of making things faster. So I have increased my labor rate, but for new products. So old products, I have just made them for so long, I am getting faster and faster at it. So the faster I make it, the more labor I'll make off of it. Because I do pay myself the labor rate for each product that I sell. But why I change that up for the snack bags and anything else going forward. Although I would like to have everything ready to ship, I want to make sure that I am getting paid, and I don't want to do a bunch of work and make a bunch of stuff and not get paid for it. So online stuff, I'm going to probably go more towards made to order, or at least partially, like I have the pieces cut. I just need to put them together. That way I can pay myself when I actually have the money in my account to pay myself with, because I can't really pay myself if I don't have any money. This has been the most in-depth I think I've gotten about my production process and how I do things. I do not intend to do like step-by-step of exactly how I make them, or like a tutorial kind of thing, mostly because they're already out there, and if I found it, you can find it. But my process for making these is going to be different, especially if you are not making things to sell, you're just making them for yourself, because you probably don't need to make 20, 30, 40, 50, 100 at the same time. But given the current economic situation, I am going to start doing more personal sewing stuff to help you get more use out of clothes and other things you already have. I don't mind sharing my process for some things, because a lot of this stuff is going to be in higher demand soon, and a lot of people are going to be turning local. So if you can make things, then go for it. I can't be everywhere at every market. Not everyone shops online, and not everyone trusts independent websites. So that's kind of why I'm still on Etsy. At least for now. I haven't launched anything new there in a little while. Alright, that's it for today. Hopefully the next videos will be a little bit shorter than this one. Okay, bye.